Hey gardeners, you want to check out some cool plants and get a good close look at our urban gardens? Hey gardeners, thank you so much for joining with me here today for this garden tour, summer garden tour. Look around at all of our different growing spaces. I know it's been a while since I put out a video, so I thought we've got to at least take a look around and see what we've got growing around in the gardens. So without further ado, let's not yap, and talk and go on. Let's get right out there and see what we've got growing on. So let's start this garden tour off big. And what I mean is big beef. This is a beefsteak variety of tomato here growing out of our 45-gallon felt pots that we've got here along the side alleyway. And this has to be our probably best performing tomato this year. It's a, like I said, big beef variety of a beefsteak tomato that my daughter and I picked up from a farmer's market here locally. So again, here's a good reason to be getting your plants from nice local nurseries, local growers, people who grow things that grow well where you grow. It's the best one. Look at all these fruit. There's just fruit all over this plant, all around. We've got new ones forming up here. We've got a bunch of flowers. It's still climbing, trying to reach the top of these really tall, they're like over 6 feet trellises here that we've got. But really looking forward to this variety. It's again, hopefully it's really tasty, but haven't had the best luck with our larger beefsteak tomatoes over the last few years. And due to our bit of a cooler summer that we're having here, we're reaping the benefits. So our plants are doing really, really well. We've got over here is a Cherokee Purple. It's putting off bunches of fruits all over the plant as well, continuing to climb up. Lots of new flowers. A great tomato. I always love growing the Cherokee Purple. And as we know, we've got a guest who's been on our show a couple of times from our book club even. He wrote the book Epic Tomatoes, and he helped introduce the variety, this heirloom variety, to the world. So I love continuing to grow that each year. Over on the other side here, we've got a variety here. This is another big variety. This one here is Big Rainbow. And this is one I've got from a friend from some of the starts that she started out this year. And I'm kind of really excited to see how this one performs, how it tastes for sure. It reminds me of a pineapple tomato in the way it looks. So going to be really interesting to check that one out when it starts to ripen up. Now in between each of these tomatoes here, we got 5 pots and tomatoes at the end, in the middle, and the other end here. But in between, we've got peppers here. I've got a pepper plant growing up the back here. This one here is a Valencia orange sweet pepper that I picked up from a local nursery, and it's starting to really take off now. And I've been seeing it's putting off some new fruits too, so we should be getting fruits forming on them and sizing up here pretty soon. And then I got this okra. It's probably the best one that's going so far, but we got a couple of them. This one wasn't doing too well. It was getting eaten up pretty bad, but it's putting off new leaves and new growth now too. So maybe it might stretch up out of there. I was hoping to get them going well ahead of all of our, what we have here in the front kind of draping over and spilling out onto the alleyway is our cantaloupe. So we've got a cantaloupe variety here. And again, I'm not remembering the name of the varieties that we got, but they're the same here. We got one in the front here Same situation over here. If you look all the way down here, we got another poorly performing okra. But let's see, where is the other one? There's another one over here. There he is, right there as well too. So I don't know, they might make it out of there, they might not, I don't know. Like I said, we tried to get them going before all of these took off. But once you're vining like cantaloupes, watermelons, squash, and all of that, once they start taking off, man, it's no stopping them when it comes down to it. So this thing's spilling out the back, going through here, working its way through our tomatoes, all of that. And like I said, it'll probably cover most all of the bottom here within the next couple of weeks. And then another pepper variety that we've got here, this is Anaheim. And see lots of flowers, just not seeing a fruit quite yet, but with all these flowers and everything, I'm sure they're going to be popping out here real soon. So yeah, so we got those there. Over on the end, I've got a watermelon growing out of our 5-gallon water wicking buckets. In these buckets, I grow the sugar baby watermelon, which seems to do really well even with a 5-gallon bucket. And then I've got a couple of varieties of lemon here. This one here, a Eureka lemon, I got from our friends the Fig Hunter when I was down visiting them last fall, and it's really putting off a lot of new growth and everything. And then this lemon here, I'm not too sure about. This is, again, one of those experiments us gardeners like to do, is we buy a lemon at the store and then we pop one of the seeds into the ground and see what happens. And that's basically what we've got here. And it's really growing really well. I don't know, we'll see over the next couple of years what it does, if it ever produces. But you know, we've got to do it, right? We just got to do it. You got those seeds, you got to plant them, you got to see what happens. So fun experiment. We'll check that along with the growth of our Eureka lemon again over the next few seasons. And right here, right at the front of the alleyway here, we've got this variety of fig. And this one here is just really kind of a sprawling. It likes to sprawl low and stretch itself out, but we'll prune it up, get it a little bit better at the end of the season in shape, and see what we get this next season. But it's really spreading out, and I see fruit already starting to form on it there. I think there's some more up top over here. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back in my archives. I've been meaning to do that at some point. Who knows if I ever will. It'll always remain a mystery maybe until I find out exactly what that variety was. I got another kind of mystery one right over here as well. But we also have our Chicago fig. This one here has been our main producer, my first fig tree that we got, and we planted it here in this big pot right in the alleyway. And I was moving some things around, trying to reorganize the side alleyway here, and a friend of mine and I tried to pick this up to move it, and it's not going anywhere. So that is one of these things that happens, you know. We grow things in pots, big pots. They have big root systems, and it makes it through the bottom, and I'm sure that thing is broken through and really just got itself in ground. So it's both a container and in-ground tree here at this point, but really putting off a lot of growth. I shared with everybody on the show not too long ago that this really took a beating during a late freeze we had this last spring, and just came right back. It's producing fruit all over. I thought I got a lot of fruit off of it last year. I'm probably going to get double or triple the fruit this year. So I'm really excited about some of the first ones ripening up here real soon. And then right over here is that other mystery fig. And I'm getting ready to kind of pot it up into another pot. Another thing is the other fig down on the end, our other trees that we've got, we're going to be repotting them into larger pots. I got even larger ones for them, but this one we're just going to kind of size up just a little bit more. We'll do that towards the end of the summer as these are finishing up growing, but it's actually putting off a lot of fruit. I'm really surprised. It's got this really cool kind of striped, variegated kind of color to it. So yeah, I'm not sure again what kind of variety it is, but I'm excited about testing them out. Both of my new or mystery figs are really producing some figs this year, so I'll finally get to taste them and check them out. And then we've got our in-ground bed, raised beds here that got cattle panel trellis. And growing right out of the front here, we've got some beets. Got some different varieties of beets. This was one of those, packets of seeds you get where it's got a bunch of different varieties all mixed together. So we've got lots of different nice ones here. Nice red beet. There's some kind of yellow in there. This one's got a little bit of red and green. So yeah. Get some nice beets there coming up really well. And then as you see here, we've got a couple of different varieties of pole beans that we've got here. Kentucky Wonders, I believe, are kind of right here on the ends. And then there's another variety I can't remember the name of, but it's growing right up here in the center. As you can see, they're climbing to the sky. They're joining up with each other. But what I'm doing here with this, when it gets up to the top here, because it doesn't really got anywhere to go, is that we're just, going to cut off these ends here. Just kind of cut them and take them back and encourage them to kind of spread out a little bit more along the whole trellis. So that's what should happen here. I'm going to cut those off. And then hopefully over the next couple weeks, it'll start filling out the rest of the trellis really well. We also got this here, which is really fantastic. So we picked up that big beef tomato that we showed you there. And at the same time got this from that farmer's market as well too. This is a Persian cucumber. And it is just putting off cucumbers like crazy all over the plant. And we just got down here and looking, and this is where you got to actually really keep an eye on stuff. I mean, look at these fruits. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 different fruit back here behind here. And we already took off a couple of those last night as I was going through and looking through here and discovering them. But look at those things. Just wonderful. And I'm telling you what, probably one of the most delicious cucumbers I've eaten. Yeah, absolutely. Just fantastic. So again, I'm gonna have to pull these off of here. Start harvesting these up to encourage more to grow on the rest of it. But as you saw, it's already producing more. There's some more right there all over the plant. So yeah, gonna be lots and lots of delicious cucumbers. And everybody who watches the channel knows that I love cucumbers. It's how all of this got started. In fact, we got a couple of other varieties here on each end of this one here, this cattle panel raised bed. We got two identical right next to each other. And yeah, these are like a market more, so a straight market slicing cucumbers. And it's got a few little starts in there, but I haven't seen anything like this Persian one that's already producing full-size, delicious cucumbers. So we'll see what we get with that one there. And then there's a few onions growing along the front here as our cucumbers are both going up the trellis and kind of starting to crawl along the bottom, coming out of the bed there. But right back here, showed you all this last year. We grew this tomato. This is actually a one tomato plant. I did pull out a couple of other little volunteers around behind it there, but that's one single plant. And this is the spoon tomato variety. And last year we grew it, I grew it more towards the center here, and it just literally took over, grew all the way up and around, spilled out in front, just spreads and sprawls out like crazy, and produce a bunch of these little tomatoes. These little things here. Look at that, just the size of a pea basically. But these things are delicious. These are actually fantastic. That's why I was really excited to see some volunteers popping up. I didn't even have to worry about saving seeds. I had volunteers pop up all back here. And yeah, so we kept just one of them. And this year what I'm doing though is, as it's coming out to the front of the cattle panel trellis here, just kind of yanking off whatever's growing through, just kind of plucking it off there. I'm not worried about being nice to the plant for sure. It's going to continue to grow and sprawl and get crazy, but I just don't want it coming out this way. We'll keep all that room for everything we've got here and let those grow and sprawl out, like I said, in the back there, and get a bunch of these just really delicious little pea-sized tomatoes. So all right, let's go check out what's growing out over in the back patio. Okay, one more thing before we go to the back patio. Actually here, almost forgot, we've got our container peach tree. Seen this peach tree over the last few seasons, growing and producing tons and tons of little delicious peaches all over the tree. They're starting to ripen up now. We should be harvesting those in the next few weeks. You still got a little ways to go, but growing out of just a nice pot here. I would say this one's probably about 8 gallons or so of a pot. But as I mentioned already, we're going to be transplanting all of our trees into these larger pots that I've got. And we'll be doing that at the end of the season, or after we harvest up these peaches. Maybe do a little pruning, straighten this tree up, get it into a new bigger pot, and then hopefully it'll grow out a little bigger this next season, and maybe even get more of these delicious frost peaches that we get from this tree. So let's start right here, right along our fence here, which was originally my very first garden space, in-ground gardening that I was doing. I had a few other containers around the patio here, but not very much. When I first moved here, this is all I thought I had until we started exploring around and expanding our spaces into the alleyway years later. But growing our Prax cherry tomatoes here, as you can see, growing along here. And we've got a little cage to help kind of hold them in. They'll grow pretty much up and out of them just a bit, but these grow pretty stocky. They grow really great, awesome cherry tomatoes, and kind of, you know, they don't grow very big ultimately, you know, 3, maybe 4 feet if we're lucky with those, but they put out a lot of fruit. They're really delicious. And if you'd like some free seeds, just drop into the comments section down below and let me know you'd like to get some free seeds there. And in between each of our Prax cherry tomatoes, we've got a Blue Lake bush bean growing in between them. And right here up at the end as well, these plants volunteered, and I was like, I don't know, those look different. And so I thought I'd let them go. The seed must have got dropped, maybe from a bird or something like that. And yeah, I think it's a variety of amaranth from what I can tell. If you know what this is, definitely let me know in the comments section below as well. But yeah, these Prax cherry tomatoes as well too, they volunteer here each year. I'll just let some of the fruits drop on into the ground, and the next season they pop right up. And we just kind of keep the ones that kind of line up the best with each of our spaces here. And then this year, like I said, we put in those Blue Lake pole beans. So right over across from our side garden there, we've got in another 5-gallon wicking bucket, another one of those sugar baby melons like we have over on the front alley. And it's, like I said, starting to take off, trailing around. It's probably going to spread all over around here. But again, we're growing the sugar babies out of our 5-gallon buckets, smaller fruits. I've had success with those versus trying to grow large fruited melons out of 5-gallon buckets. It just doesn't work as well. They don't get to fully mature very well. But the sugar babies, I've had some pretty good ones that have come out of the 5-gallon buckets. So I'm really excited to see how well they do this year. And right next to those, we've got a variety of, I think it's Black Beauty eggplant. And it's starting to put off flowers and fruits now. And we've got another one right over here as well. Looks like it's got some little fruit flowers about to form off of this one as well. And right back behind this, or in between those eggplants and climbing up our cage here, we've got lemon cucumber, which was my first favorite cucumber, probably the favorite one over the last several years for sure. But that Persian that we just saw earlier, that might take first place for sure. And right down here, we've got another kind of experimental fun plant. I saw these at the farmer's market when we were picking up those other cucumbers and tomatoes. And this is edamame soybean. And looks like the plant is already putting on a whole bunch more beans here, as I pulled off a bunch just last week too. Yeah, look at all of those. So yeah, we'll have to harvest those off of there, and I'm sure it's just going to keep producing more as we keep taking them off. As you see right here, this is a elevated 2 foot by 2 foot raised bed. We've got one of those here, and we got another one right back there, and we've got these wood tower trellises that I built and put in the center. As you can see here, we've got kind of a orange cherry, I can't remember exactly what variety it was, sun gold maybe, I think, I'm not sure, it might be the sun gold. But yeah, it's growing like crazy. Lots and lots of fruit forming all throughout it. And lots of flowers still popping off and growing all over the plant. Right. And right down below here, we've got our peppers. Now, I've talked about what I'm doing with my peppers this year. We've got a few other varieties, some in the back carport over there and over in the side back alley that we're growing a couple of different varieties, but these are all a Sugar Rush peach variety that I've been kind of breeding out a certain characteristic that's been showing up on the pods. Sugar Rush peach usually have kind of like a long pointed pod, and these ones, the pointed end is actually inverted and goes up into the pepper pod, kind of call puckered. So we're gonna hopefully in the next couple of generations have good stable plants that are producing plenty of those varieties, specifically of those pods, and then we'll have our own variety of the Sugar Rush peach that we've bred out and developed right here on our back patio. Kind of excited about that. We're growing out a bunch of them right now. As soon as I get some pods ripened off of these, we'll be harvesting seeds and starting another generation right away. So hopefully by end of summer, early fall, we've already got another generation of these going. We'll overwinter some, we'll grow a couple more generations next year, and hopefully at that point in time, we'll have some good stable plants. And back behind here are more of our Blue Lake bush beans. And across from our peppers and beans there, we've got another one of our elevated raised beds. This one is a really tall, deep one that I built many years ago. oh gosh, 10, 12 plus years ago. It's still going. Maybe we might have to replace some of the boards up front here in the next season or two, but it's still going pretty well, pretty strong. Really deep bed here so that we can grow lots of things that need larger root systems. Also, I like to grow some carrots in here at times as well too, so we can get some nice long carrots in our container basically. And here you see we've got these tomatoes right up front. These are volunteer micro dwarf tomatoes, a micro dwarf tomato variety we grew last season, popped up out of another little pot I had, and so we pricked those out of there and put them into the front of this bed here. And in the back you can see we've got some more watermelon here. As you see our theme going along here today, we got more watermelon. These are, because of the deep bed and the larger space for the root system, we're growing our larger watermelons out of these ones. We've actually got two plants here, one here, one here. One's going off, down along, spilling out of the bed. This one eventually will, as it's climbing and crawling over this way here. And real quick up here too, I've got a little kind of accidental experiment, if you will. I kind of let some of these leeks here. We've got American flag leeks that we'll be planting out into another space here, but they kind of got fried a little bit as they dried out, but the plants are doing good. We cut them back, and then we have these ones which are still all right. So yeah, we got some that we didn't cut and some that we cut. Which ones are going to grow better? I don't know. This experiment just kind of came and happened, so we'll see. We'll see as we keep growing this year. We'll be getting those transplanted out for our fall and winter season. These will mature closer to the first of this next year during winter time. All right, let's go check right over here. We've got a couple of our, or a few of our 5-gallon Wiccan buckets. Again, another watermelon here. This one, a sugar baby coming out of this one here and spilling out. And then maybe we'll get some of it to come up the trellis as well. We've got back behind here, we've got some pole beans. We need to get watered. They're really looking a little sad in the heat today, but they'll be just fine here in just a little bit. More of the Kentucky Wonder, and I believe right up the middle here we've got one of those rattlesnake beans that I planted in there, as well as another one of our lemon cucumbers. So see how those do. And over here, another deep bed. This one here just a little bit newer than the other one behind me here, but nice and deep raised bed here. And again, a couple of extra, and you know, a lot of these watermelon are just because I had extras, and again, you know what it's like, I don't want to just throw them out or toss them out, so we find little spaces here and there for them. So we've got one here on the end and another one over on the end over there. We've got a few different beans in here, I think a couple of French fillet bushes. And then we've got some pole beans, some scarlet runners, I think the 1,500-year-old cave bean from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company, and another one too, a name I'm not going to be able to pronounce, but we got a few of those running right up this little panel trellis we've got, so that we can kind of just walk right through here. And some more strawberries here. We've got one of our apple trees, another tree that we've got to transplant, and another one over here, which really, even though it's got some apples on it, this thing got fried really bad during that freeze. So again, these trees are just trying to make it through the season. We'll get them transplanted into bigger pots. Look at this here, actually. This year, I don't even know what kind of squash or what we've got coming out of here. Some seed that was left in some compost, I think I topped this off with, and started popping up out of here. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. All right. Some more of our strawberry starts that we've got here. But yeah, that's pretty much the patio right now. We've got our pear tree. This is an experiment I want to get going here pretty soon too, is to be able to graft on a couple of other varieties of pears to that and have a multi-grafted pear. But same as the other trees, we got bigger pots. We're going to transplant those out at the end of the season. And yeah, here we are, more strawberries, and getting lots of strawberry starts that we're trying to propagate this season to replace a bunch of our older strawberry plants, and to set up a couple of other strawberry planters that we want to set up in our spaces. But yeah, they're out sending out runners right now, and as the runners are getting big enough and ready, we're placing them into our pots here. As you can see here, let me pull one of these out real quick. I think that one's in pretty good, but I just got these little clipped paper clips that we've clipped off the bottom end and kind of got a little hook in there, and we just kind of put those in there to hold those down into the pot until they can get rooted in there, and then we can cut them off from the mother plant. But yeah, we'll have to get another one here with that one there, but we've got a bunch of them. I probably got about 20 or 30 all together, all throughout these different plants with different runners. And again, more and more. They just keep producing more and more plants. It's a great thing about strawberries. In fact, real quick here, this is what I want to do also. I want to get some gutters, old gutters, and put them along here. And then I also have this here that was kind of something that was sent to me years ago that I never really used for some wall hydroponic type of system, but it probably worked really well, you know, putting them up here. And I've got several of them that we can put over on this side to pot up some strawberries on the wall. And then I was thinking some gutters for right down here. But yeah, future projects. All right, a couple of different types of spaces here to check out as we finish up here on our little summer garden tour. We've got this space here, which is on the other side of our fence there from our back patio. Some more in-ground space, a few containers of some herbs. I think we got like oregano. There's a couple of varieties, one in ground, one in a container here. We've got a couple of varieties of mint back there, like some spearmint, peppermint. I think there's a chocolate mint right back there. And then I think we got like lavender and some rosemary right in here. And then this one here is a container we put one of those spoon tomatoes in. And as you can see here, it looks like we've got already a little ripe tomato forming. But as you saw the other one, it's in ground. It's huge, it's sprawling everywhere. So I thought I would try one of the plants in a container to see how well the container kind of contains the size of the plant so far. It isn't getting too crazy big, but it hasn't been in there very long, only a couple of weeks. So we'll see where it goes as the season continues along. But yeah, kind of interesting to see. I figured, you know, if it's going to be so huge, it's going to get a little bit smaller in a container, and how well it works for that. Could be a really great container plant. And as you see here, let's not fall in there, but we've got potatoes. Yeah, we've got what is our volunteer potato patch here. And some of the plants are starting to wear down and die off, which means it's about time here soon to start digging in and pulling out this year's potatoes. And what we're gonna do is leave the little ones behind take the big ones out of there, and then they'll be right set to go next season as well too, for a whole nother patch. As you can see here, I can already tell too, we've got some poking out of the top here. So yeah, they're definitely bursting out of the ground and ready to come out. I don't know what, some sort of weed there, but also I'll just mention too, this here, you see how this is happening? It's turning green. These are not going to be very edible. I'm not going to do much with those. Maybe toss them back in. As you see, they're already starting to grow out some more, or chitting, as you will. But this is one of the reasons why we hill our potatoes. We don't hill our potatoes for extra production. We hill our potatoes to protect the ones that are trying to grow, because they grow kind of pretty close to surface level right there in that root system. And a lot of these ones right at the top will try to pop right out of there. And if we're hilling them up, then we're kind of protecting and covering that top layer. We're not hilling them as to try to grow more potatoes, but to protect the ones that we have. And as you can tell, I didn't hill them up this year. We just kind of let things go. And a few of them are kind of popping up out of there. But I'm sure there's a bunch of really great potatoes in there that we'll harvest up here probably this next week. I think I'll get in there, because as you can see, we've got a couple of our plants here in the back. I've got a spaghetti squash, which I think is, yes, there's one right there. There's a little spaghetti squash starting to grow off of the vine coming up over here. Also right in the front though too, I've got an Armenian cucumber, which is kind of spreading along with this spaghetti squash, but it's going to want to come take over this whole space over here. So I'm going to pull out our potatoes before it takes over that whole space here in the next couple of weeks. And then, yeah, this will be just full of spaghetti squash and Armenian cucumbers. We did have a volunteer tomato of some sort that's popping up. And then I did drop in one of our extra eggplants after it was sitting in a container for so long. I just felt sorry for it and just popped it in this space over here. So I don't know what it'll do. We'll see. And then we've got this lamb's ear here, which has gone to flower. And the bees are just kind of going crazy over it. They love this flower. But so I let the bees kind of have fun with it for a while here. And as it starts to wear down here, there's still a little bit more left. But once it's all wore down here, probably in the next week, I'll cut off all the flower heads there. And then that'll just leave us with these really soft leaves here on this they call it lamb's ear or lamb's tail. It's really nice. It really spreads a lot, as I've told people before, if you've ever seen me talk about this plant, because it'll spread out, and you can walk all over that. These things can take so much damage. I just yank and pull and kind of push it back into its corner each season. It'll spread out, and then we kind of push it back, and we just do that each year. But I love having it around. It's such a cool looking plant. And then we've got a couple of volunteer tomatoes here from last year's tomatoes. I believe these are like a black cherry tomato that we had growing out of these last season. So one plant doing pretty well. This one here didn't do all that well, but we'll see what happens with it ultimately. So let's go see what we've got right over here. So right over here on the other side of the alleyway, we've got a few different tomato varieties growing here. A couple of them out of these big, large, I'd say like 15-gallon pots that we've got here. And then we've got this one here out of one of our 5-gallon wicking pots. I see some fruit starting to ripen up there, but this is a little bit of a struggling Sweet 100 that I popped up here into this container, but it's been starting to take off and grow here, producing lots of new flowers. There's plenty of new fruit starting to pop up around the plant. So hopefully it'll fill up this cage here real soon and be nice and full of some delicious little cherry tomatoes. But right over here, we've got one here. This is a tomato variety called Beef Master. Another one I got from a local nursery here. As you can see, I didn't really grow too many of my tomatoes at all from my own seed this year. We picked up a lot of our plants and things from other places. I mean, we started a few things from seed. But yeah, this one's just doing really, really well. Climbing up out of its cage up here. And starting to produce a ton of fruit. So again, looking forward to seeing if we can really be successful with some of our bigger size slicing tomatoes. Right here in the middle, right out of this little felt pot here. This is about a 10-gallon felt pot. And we got some sweet potatoes. And they are taking off. Vines going all over, down below, over here, climbing up our little wood trellis that we've got here in the back. So we'll see how well we do with some sweet potatoes this year. And then we got this one here. The only marking I've got on this is another one we got from our friend, is yellow. So it's a yellow variety of tomato. And the plant's doing pretty well. It's starting to put off lots of fruit that I can see on the inside there. And right along with all the other ones, still growing, still climbing, still putting out lots of new flowers. So yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a good tomato year this year. Really, really excited about that. And then right down over here, we got this big fence here, my neighbor's fence that opens up here. And eventually, hopefully, we'll get a mural put up on there that still want to do. But we've got some of our other pepper variety here. This one, I think all of these are our Jupiter Belle. And some of them are doing good, putting off flowers and still trying to grow. Again, it's not my best pepper year at all this year. And then I got this one here, which is just, it's not doing too well. And that one over there isn't as well either. Those that, well, actually both of those. This one seems to be going along, and these ones are growing along all right. This one looks like it's about wanting to die. It's not because of our soil, drying out or anything. It does got a lot of weeds in there. I don't know if that's really a problem though, but yeah, it's struggling along. I do have another pepper variety down the alleyway in a container still, so I think I'll just kind of pluck that one out of there and put that one in there and see if that one will do all right. But yeah, not too happy with how those ones are performing. And these ones are coming along all right and should grow really well and start producing here pretty soon. And we got another one of those eggplants, which is just, actually this one is just doing fantastic, especially compared to the two that we've got on the back patio. This is the same variety. I only grew the one variety this year. It's starting to put off some flowers, and we'll have some fruits coming off of it. But yeah, leaves are looking amazing. The plant's just stretching out and looking good. So this one probably really good. And then again too, I was mentioning that beans are kind of the theme that we started with in the season, but it's actually kind of turned out to be these sugar baby watermelons, which I just kind of found pots and places all over the garden for them. So another one there, doing pretty well. And before we go over to the other side of the fence here and take a look at what we've got growing, which we usually call our back fence line, and this is the back alley fence, which I haven't done much of anything with for the last few years. I want to get this all cleaned up, get this working and growing this next season for sure. Big goal on that. But yeah, most of my blueberries, haven't done too well with. Some of them have died off. In fact, this one here sprouted out a tree of some sort that came out of it a couple years back and has been slowly growing and growing and growing over the last couple of years. And I just let it go. I've just, again, not wanting to deal with any of this sort of stuff, and just been letting it go. And this year it put off a bunch of flowers along with all the other trees, fruit trees, and ended up producing these little golden plums. Yeah, so it's a gold plum volunteer. And again, it doesn't got very many fruit on it, and I'm sure that has to do with the freeze that's affected all of the other trees that we have. But yeah, I'm gonna keep this. I think I'm gonna prune it down here at the end of the season, maybe repot it or keep it in here. And then we got another one right here kind of growing out as well too. And so what I'll do is I'll keep these two together to help them pollinate, as I've read that having two of them is helpful, similar to with the pears and some other fruit trees, where if you've got pairs of the trees, then they help pollinate each other. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this one going and see what we end up with here in the next few seasons. It's a nice surprise. You know, we get cool annual volunteers a lot. You know, our tomatoes, we've got the potatoes, we've got several other things that you know, annually volunteer for us. But how about a nice perennial volunteer, a whole plum tree? That's pretty awesome. Also, look, climbing through the fence as well too, I'll show you on the other side are grapes. But I just noticed they're starting to turn color. I was just out here the other day and they were still green. So they're ripening up, changing color. We're gonna be able to taste test these real soon. Looking forward to that for sure. Come here. What are you doing, Jay? Huh? What's going on, kitty cat? Yeah? How's it going today? You just want some attention, don't you? You hear me talking to everybody. You want some attention. And right down here at the end of the fence, we've got one of our in-ground strawberry beds. Again, with a lot of plants that I want to replace. That's why we're propagating a lot of those strawberries. In fact, I've got to get out here and start propagating some of this variety as well too. We've got plenty of runners that are running up out of here that we got to pin down and get some of these varieties. I know this one's a nice ever-bearing variety and produces some really nice fruits. So they're starting to get small, so we need to replace the plants. Let's see here, we got some growing out over here. There's a nice one there. I think we got some more over here as well. So yeah, it's producing some. I've been already pulling off a bunch off of here already too. So again, we're still getting some good fruit, but still it's going to be nice to replace a lot of these plants and get some new young ones in there to start producing some of those big fat strawberries that I really love to get. And as you see right here next to it, and like I said, we're filming here mid-afternoon as the heat's really starting to kick in right now. I'm gonna go around and give everybody a nice watering here after I'm finished, but you can see they're starting to droop from the heat, and which is okay. It's just their little defense mechanism to make it through this part of the day. I'll soak them down with some cool water here real soon, and that'll get them to pop right up there. But check this out. We got a couple of baby fruit over here, another one over there. I'm still deciding if these are the two that we're going to keep. We're going to let them go. They're trailing out here still, and maybe we'll get another one or two off of the ends here. And this is a Dill Atlantic variety of pumpkin. In fact, it's two. There's one there and one over here. And we're just letting the leader of the vine, the main leader, and we're cutting off all of our suckers along the way in order to just put the plant's energy into these main leaders and their primary fruits. So we'll have 1, 2 primary fruits there. We'll let it go a little bit longer, and then we'll find a couple of backup ones in case something happens to those. And then once they're really established and we know we got some good solid fruit growing and they're starting to size up, we'll just break it down to 1 fruit per plant with the idea of getting the biggest one that we can, and breaking my own personal record out of this space here. Several years ago, we grew an Atlantic dill that got to be 137 pounds. So we're going to try to beat 137 pounds. One of my big goals of the growing season this year was to grow big giant pumpkins so that I could get some cool pictures with my granddaughter and some big pumpkins this fall. So hopefully that'll happen. And so far looking pretty good. And look, we got a little pumpkin patch, jack-o'-lantern back there. But right next to it, there's that grape, this blueberry variety of grape we got from our Let's Get Growing show sponsor, Ivy Organics, sent to us a couple of years ago. And I planted it here on the fence. I haven't done the best job of making sure I'm pruning and setting it right, so that's going to be a big goal here. I just wanted to make sure that it got really established and it starts really growing and again, producing some fruit. But we got to prune it right and get a couple of cordons going on it just right. And yeah, so that's my goal. End of the season, we'll kind of shape this up just a little bit better so that we can get it to grow just a little more uniformly and producing yearly fruit at the best it possibly can. And then here's another one of those watermelon, which actually has been got another one over here as well too, struggling along, and it's finally starting to really grow and wanting to stretch out. So we'll see if anything really happens. We still got plenty of time to produce and grow some fruit off of these, but being here in the ground in the alleyway in this back area, it's really hard on a lot of these plants with a lot of the bug pressure we got. We got earwigs, we got slugs, we got all sorts of things that are just trying to prey on all of these plants back here. And when we get them in there nice and young and all of that, it's actually nearly impossible. I try direct seeding a few times, but those little seedlings get eaten up within minutes. Or days, seconds, whatever. They just get eaten right away by the different bugs and things like that come through here, snails, slugs, and stuff. What are you doing, George? Yeah? You trying to get in on the video? You feeling left out? Yeah? All right. But now that the plant's kind of grown past some of that pressure, I'm sure it'll start to spread out and hopefully get some good fruit off of it as well. This here is a squash variety. I think this is an old variety I had got from Baker Creek from an old seed packet. And I just kind of popped it into one of our starter trays. And it's called a Hubbard, I believe. Hubbard variety. But so far, I'm not getting any viable fruit off of it yet. That one there's just kind of died right back. But we'll see. It's just kind of getting started. Starting to really vine out there. And then a volunteer sunflower of some variety from last year. And then we've got a couple of zucchini plants. You see this one here? Nice and healthy, looking great. In fact, I think it's already starting to produce some fruits down in there. And then we got this one that's kind of right next to it. And as you can see, it's been getting eaten up. Just getting really chewed up and munched up by the bugs. But you know what, I'm not pulling that out. I'm leaving that. That's that's my trap plant basically. All of the bugs are going to this one and leaving that one alone, and that one's looking really nice. So there's a good reason to not always pull out those ones that are really getting munched up by your different pests that you got. And then also right over here, as we're finishing up today. Here in the back is we got 4 different varieties of tomatoes here, and the thing about these is I don't know what they are. I messed up as I was planting tomatoes out, and I was placing my different starts around, and lost track of which ones these ones were. And so this is kind of my mystery tomato section back here. Although over here I can tell that we've kind of got a large cherry of some sort on this one here. There's more back there. So kind of know this one is some sort of cherry variety. And then we've got a couple of others still yet to wait for some fruit to come off of them. And we'll find out what they are. A couple of little volunteers down here. I don't know if they'll do much of anything, but we'll see. And then this here is another one of those spaghetti squash. And it's starting to stretch. It's going through to the other side of the fence there, heading off in these directions. So yeah, we should have a bunch of squash all along the bottom, and have our tomatoes and sunflowers and grapes and all of that. But yeah, that's pretty much a look around there at what everything we've got growing on. I'm sure there's a few things I forgot to show you, but we'll come back around here a little bit later in the season and check back on all of these different plants. So there you have it, everyone. A nice look around at all of our different growing spaces here. I'm sure it's not everything that we've got growing on, as I said, but it's a pretty good look. And I'm pretty surprised at how things have actually been turning out so far this year. I didn't have too many big expectations as things got growing along early in our spring. But for the most part, you know, a lot of the plants that we did get out into our growing spaces are growing extremely well. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with the cooler weather we've been having here so far in spring and summer. See how the rest of the year goes. And as I said, too, we'll try to check back here in a few weeks as well, too, and see how well everything continues to grow along here in our garden spaces. So again, thank you everybody for taking your time to hang out with us today, to walk around and check out our garden tours. It's so awesome always to have you all here. I really hope that you jump down into the comments section below. Let me know you're here. Let me know what you've got growing on. How are your gardens growing this year? Is it better than normal? Is it not as good as normal? Love to hear all about it right in the comments section below. And before you head out, definitely, you know, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Definitely come and join with us on the weekends for our Let's Get Growing show. We get to talk with so many amazing gardeners throughout the gardening community, the international gardening community, and it's so much fun. So definitely come and join with us live on the weekends, and share with all of your garden friends. Thank you so much again. We'll see you all in our next video.